Hello everyone, welcome back to Coding with Sijas. This is the episode 3 of Mastering Fiori Elements series. In the last video, we created our first Fiori Element application using Visual Studio Code and Fiori extension pack. If you haven't checked it out yet, the link's in the description. Today, we'll dive into the most powerful and important concept of Fiori Elements, the annotations. I'll explain what they are, when and how do you define them, what are the different types, and see some hands-on example like customizing your list report and exploring on annotation modeler. Let's get started. Annotations are basically metadata instructions that control how your Fiori element app behaves and looks without you have to manually write a front-end code. They describe everything from what field to be shown in your table, how your object-based sections are organized, what charts and KPIs that shown up. Think of annotations as a language your app instructs your Fiori element how to render a UI based on the backend service. There are two main ways how you can define your annotations. First one, in the backend OData Service metadata. Usually written into your SCAP or ABAP CDS views, and these are delivered along your metadata. Second option, locally within your app annotation files. This is added into your VS Code project into the annotation folder. There will be a file called annotation.xml and you can write your annotation there. And this is especially useful when you want to customize your UI without touching your backend OData. Both are valid approaches and you will see some examples and how you will use this combination. There are different categories of annotations. And here are the few which you will often use. First one, UI annotation. They control your layout and the UI elements like table, charts, and sections. Secondly, we have common annotations, and these will be controlling your value helps, your text association, and semantic keys. And third, we have data annotations, and they define the data field properties like labels, currencies, and units. And then we have capabilities annotations, and they are useful in configuring your sorting, your filtering, and paging options. And finally, we have personalization annotations, and they control your table personalization or UI personalization in the runtime. We will work on few of this in our demo. So now let's ditch the theory and get hands-on. I'll show you how you can configure local annotation in your Fiori element project. For that, you would need an OData service. So if you are not having any existing OData service like a CAP service or ABAP service, I'll give you a link in the description where it will help you to get your own ABAP test system. It's a BTP system where you will get an ABAP cloud and you will be able to create your own OData service with it. And then we continue from there. So I already have created an OData service without any annotations, and I will be using the same OData service for the next topic. So here is the Git repository. From using this, you will be getting a trial account into a BTP environment, and you will be able to get an ABAP training system, which you can configure in a ADT and continue your development from there. Let me quickly open the Visual Studio Code, and I'll click on Command-Shift-P, use application generator. So before this, I would need to configure a system, which I would be able to connect it. So I'm clicking on Add SAP System. From here, I'll be choosing the ABAP environment for SAP Cloud Platform, and here I use service key. So service key is something you would be able to download once you're creating a BTP system with an ABAP instance. So I'm copying my service key data from here, paste it here, and it will be authenticating in the browser, right? So let me give a system ID. So let me give ADT training as a system name and click on save. So once the system is saved, I'll go back to my Fiori and generator, choose list report page, click on next. Here I'll choose connect to a system and I'll use ADT training. It will basically load all the services which is available. Yeah, I'm searching CWS, which is basically coding with Sijas service. I'll click on next. I'll use travel as my main entity, booking as my secondary entity, And this is the most important side. I should not be selecting yes because it will automatically add some annotations in my local file. So I just choose no and I'll click on next. And here, let me call it travel underscore app, a travel booking application. Namespace I'll give in.sijas. Projects I choose coding with Sijas, and I'll keep everything as it is. So it's installing its dependencies. Now you can see it has opened the travel app folder here. So I'll just click Control tilde symbol and it will be opening the travel app. So let me do npm start. So this should be running the application. The application has opened in the browser. You have a filter bar with nothing in it. You have a table with nothing in it, and there is a search bar. So I'll just click on the F12 to see my network call, and I'll simply click on go. You see there is a batch call which is already going, and the data is returned. But unfortunately, we don't have any line item annotation which will show the data for us. So if you see here, the data is already coming. So we just need to configure the line item annotation. So for that, let me go back to the repository. As I mentioned in the last video, when you generate an application, we already get an annotation file here with no data in it. So we have to create our line item annotation here. If you look at the manifest JSON, you can already see the services added here. And if you go to the targets, you can already see there are three patterns here. So one is for the list page, one is for the object page, and one is for the sub-object page. And similarly, you can see the targets here. So one is for the list page, which is loading based on the list report. And you can see that when there is a navigation configured to the object page, it is using context path as travel. Also, you can see the object page here, and which is also having context path as travel. And then you have a sub-object page where you can see it is from travel/booking. So this is the basic setup of your manifest JSON, and that's how Fiori Element runs the application without you creating any controller or view. It automatically creates the controller based on that. So you can see there are two object pages and one list report. Now let's get back to the annotation. So the first annotation we need to add is for the line item. So the line annotations I'm defining. The target is basically I have travel type. So I'll just clear it. Then the first annotation we need to use is the line item annotation. So I'll use UI dot line item annotation. I need to have a collection first. Now the most important part is here you can see we are configuring label as travel type and path as travel type, which may not be the correct one. So we can quickly go to the metadata and go to the property for travel type, and you can see here the first is travel ID. So that's the error we are getting here. So I'll just enter travel ID here and I save it. Now let me get back to. So you can see here travel type has already come here. I'm clicking on go button and you can see the travel type coming in. So let's see another property now. If I go to agency ID is something which I need to show. So I'll go here and I'll just duplicate the record and I'll configure the next one, and let me call it as this was travel ID and this was agency ID. And the property is agency ID. So I click on go and you can see agency ID is coming up. And now similarly, you will be able to configure more and more line item annotations. And we will go in deep when we are working with the ABAP CDS in the next section. So now let me configure some selection fields. So the filter items. Right. So here we have the line item annotation. So I'll minimize it and I'll go to the next one, which is the selection fields. So again, annotation of term UI dot selection fields. So here I have UIs dot selection field annotation, and again I need to have a collection. Yeah, so I'll just click on save, and now let me get back to my application, and you already see a travel ID and agency ID is coming up here. So I can simply click on go here, and I know travel ID is 132, so I'll just enter 132 here and it filters. So similarly, I can just enter maybe an agency ID and click on agency ID and it appears. So that's basically how you configure local annotations. Now let's make it better. So you don't have to always write everything manually. So there is something which is already available from Fiori extension pack. So I'll just save everything and make it as old state. So I have no filter fields. I don't have a column fields. Now let me go to the guided development tool. So I can press Command Shift P here and type guided development. And here you can see there are many options for the travel app. So in the list report, first I'm saying that add and edit table columns. I click on this and start guide. So here I choose the entity type, which is travel type, and column parameters I need to add. So first let me add travel ID and navigation path. I'm not selecting anything. I directly select the property travel ID, and I'm not giving any importance. I'll add another column. Let me call it as agency ID, and again the property as agency ID, and let me just click insert snippet, and you can see already it has inserted that piece of code into my annotation file. I just need to save it and go back to my app, and already I see the line item creator. Now similarly, if I want to do the next piece, which is I want to add filter fields, I can just exit the guide and just scroll to here for selection field. So here you would see filter fields. The same, I start the guide, I select my entity as travel type, and I just choose the properties I want. So I choose agency ID, I click on another one, and I choose travel ID. I want to order it so that travel ID comes first. I just click on insert snippet, and it already inserts that snippets, and my application is already refreshed with the two annotations. So that's all how you can configure locally annotations locally and how you work with it. So this, as I mentioned in the last section, that when you work with local annotation, you don't modify the original service. The original service is untouched, and you just add the annotation from the UI. So now let's jump into the backend based annotations. So again, I'll go back to my app, and I'll make all my annotation as empty. So I don't have any annotations. And let me enhance my CDS view now. So I'm not doing anything. If you go back to my app, I have no filter fields, nothing. And let me open my ADT, and I have my travel CDS view here. And first thing I need to add is allow extension. I have already created here. So right click on it. I'll add a metadata extension. I'll give the same name and metadata extension for travel CDS. Now next, I choose the PR and annotate entity. As you can see here, I'm giving a score layer. So this is certain things which you need to do. And first, let me bring the field travel ID. So travel ID is added here. So first I need to add the UI annotation, line item annotation. So let me add at UI and under that I need to add the line item annotation. So how do you position it? Just give position as 10 so that it comes first. Now apart from that, I also need to add filters to it. So selection field, again I'll give position as 10 and I activate the service. Yeah, the service is activated. So all I need to do is refresh my CDS view and I see travel ID and travel filter is already reflecting. So how does it happen? So if you go to my $metadata, I'll just open that in a new tab and you see the similar annotation what you have seen here. Let me just type line item. So for the travel type, we already have a line item annotation with one data field. Similarly, we have selection fields with travel ID in it. So now you have seen this is UI annotation. So we had explained in the previous section, we have UI annotation, we have data annotation, we have consumption annotation, personalization annotation. So we will see all of this now. So now I want to show the agency ID now. So let me just go and choose the next field, which is agency ID, and I'll bring the same thing. I'll just change the position to 20 and 20, and I see the activated, and let me refresh the application. So you see travel ID and travel ID is coming up here, and you can see the travel ID 132 is coming and agency ID 0007 is appearing. So what if I need the agency ID to come with the agency name? So that is when the data annotation will help us. So in CDS view, we have something called object model. So under object model, I'm just saying that I need the text element as the agency name. So I'll just quickly add the agency name and I'll activate it. Let me go to my OData and go to travel type / agency ID. So you can see now the agency ID is coming up here and it has a label with agency ID is appearing as you have seen. Now once I refresh my metadata, I should see there is something called common.text, which is called agency name. So now when I refresh my UI, you would see the agency ID is appearing with an agency name. So this is how you link a description to the ID. So let me just go back to the customer ID and I want to know which customer has booked it. So maybe I'll add customer ID, and similarly I'll just copy paste this and make it 30 and 30 here, and go back to my customer ID. I'll just copy the object model annotation and give here, and instead of agency name I'll have customer name. So I'll activate both the changes. Yeah, the change is saved. So let me quickly go back to my application and refresh it. And you would see the customer ID is appearing. So I'll just click on go and I see customer ID is coming. So what if I want to now add a booking fee column? So I add booking fee column and I see 30 euros is coming. So how does it actually appear? That is mainly because if I go to the main CDS view, you would see I have already added semantic amount currency code. So the currency code which is coming up from here is actually getting reflected here. So let me add another annotation to ensure this does not happen. So at metadata, propagate, ignore propagated annotation true. Let me just activate this so that I'm ensuring that the annotation which is from the bottom layer is not appearing. Yeah. So here, as you can see, as soon as I added this, you get an error saying that I need to add the semantics annotation. So let me just add a semantics dot currency code. I'll just copy the same thing what we have here. So semantics dot amount dot currency code. So let me just add it here and save it. And same thing I need to do for the total price as well. So I add it. So now only with this we'll be able to activate it. And I'll refresh this. Right. So I'll add now the booking fee and the total price over here, and you see both are coming up, and all is happening in the background. So if I just refresh my OData service and I go to travel type / booking fee, you can already see there is the measures which is coming, and that is currency code. The label is coming from here. Now let's configure a value help for the agency ID. So let me just go to my entity set, and first I need to go to metadata extension, and over here I need to add the consumption annotation, which will help you add the value help. So consumption, and under that value help definition, and in the value help definition I need to give the entity name. So entity name is, so the entity name is /DMO/I_agency. So let me just click on save, and the element which I want to use from that is agency ID. Now let me just save this and activate, refresh this application, and I click on value help. Now I would see an agency ID is appearing. So let me just choose 7003 and click on OK and click on go, and you see that we have also configured the agency ID value help. Now the next thing is that I don't want to always see, or maybe I don't want to see the customer ID at all. For the agency ID here, I already have a UI annotation. So under that we have something called text arrangement. I gave text only. So once I activate this and I refresh our Fiori element application and I click on go, and you would see now the ID is missing, but I can just click on this and I can see the agency ID sorting, grouping, and everything is enabled by default. That's our deep dive into the Fiori element annotations. Today we covered what are annotations, where can you define them, what are the different types you'll use, and we did a hands-on session on how to configure a local annotation, how to use annotation modeler, and finally how to configure OData based annotations. In the next video, we will take it further by configuring other flow plan like object page, analytical list page, and overview page, all using annotations. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more videos from the Fiori Element series. That's all for today. See you in the next one.